Hi and welcome to the Booklab. I'm Björn, and this is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature and human potential. And today I'm going to do more of a casual video. In fact, I had a review planned, but I misplaced my microphone and I didn't want to record with bad audio. So I thought maybe I'll do a little bit of a vlog here talking about the new books that I've got, my current reads. I actually have a book that I got delivered today that I'm going to unpack. Also, I want to announce the next book giveaway. So this is going to be more of a casual video where I just talk about books, and if you like books like me, then just sit back, relax and enjoy. Alright, let's dig into it. I actually want to start with opening up this package that I think I got it in the post yesterday and I haven't opened it. I ordered 2 books and they're in 2 separate deliveries, so I don't know which one this is. Yes, The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. This book, I actually encountered it in my teens, which is one of the reasons I reread it. I actually listened to it on audio and just got it afterwards because I felt like I wanted to have it in my collection. The reason I wanted to revisit it is because I have very little memories from what I got from this book, but looking at my life now and seeing how influenced I am by Eastern thought and similar ideas, I wanted to go back to this book, so maybe it would spark some memories about like how I thought about this book first time I read it. And I think the book holds up pretty well. It started off really slow. I could notice that it has aged a bit. It's written by this some kind of journalist. I don't know exactly his background, but when you really get into the core ideas of the book, yeah, I felt like it held up really well. So I'm looking forward to reviewing this. The book that I was actually going to talk about this week is A Man in Full, a book that I read some time ago, and the reason why I started to investigate this book is it's actually a fictional book about a bunch of different characters, and it revolves a lot of different themes about social status, the American dream, and manliness in a way. The reason I picked it up is because it talks about Stoicism, one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite philosophies to study. So I wanted to see how this book treated that topic, as well as that this book is coming out as a mini-series on Netflix as well, which will be super interesting to read. But I came here for the Stoicism because in this book, 2 of the main characters' lives changed dramatically when they encountered Stoic philosophy, and they found like an inner strength by looking back at the words of the ancient Stoic philosophers. So I wanted to see how that was treated, and the video I was going to do was will be called something like The Stoicism of A Man in Full. So hopefully I can record that once I get a microphone. On my flight to San Francisco, I started to reading this classic, The Catcher in the Rye. This is a book that I know is a part of a lot of nations' reading curriculum. When you go to school, people are forced to read it, basically. And I knew nothing about this because this is not a thing in Sweden where I'm from. But I keep hearing the title, and I have a goal in my life to read a few classics each year because I want to cover most of the classics, because I think there's a lot of value in reading classic books because most of them are called classics for a reason. But I went in totally blind on this one. I think I heard a few hints about the content and that it was discussing psychological problems in some way. And I'm just a few pages left. Actually, sorry, I dog ear my book. Few pages left, and it's depressing, this book. Like the attitude of this guy, the main character in this book, is pretty awful. Like nothing interesting interests him. He has no creative side. He's very judgmental, self-indulgent, and self-pity is something that he spends a lot of time doing. So I was kind of depressed by reading it. I wouldn't say it's a home run in any way, but it would be interesting to see what these last pages have in store, because I haven't really got a sense of where the story is going and what the main point will be. I'll have a review up on that. I will probably study this book and kind of research what kind of impact this had on other people and why it's so popular, because it's not totally obvious to me. If you read Catcher in the Rye, maybe in school, please comment in the comments. It would be really interesting to see your take on it, because one thing I noticed about this book is also that you probably have a different relationship to it depending on when you read it in life. I was sitting next to this Russian guy on the plane, and he saw me reading this book, and he said, "Oh, you're reading Catching in the Rye. Isn't that too late to do that now?" Because he was, what is it called? He was assigned to read it in school when he was much younger. So it would be interesting to hear what people have to say about this book. And speaking of travels, I went to the bookstore on the airport, of course, and I was looking through their selection, and I found a book that stood out to me. I really had this urge for another popular science book, and I picked this one up. A very short history of life on Earth. I haven't heard much about this, but the idea spoke to me, so I bought it. So hopefully I'll dig into this very soon. Let me know if you heard about it, if you read it. That would be super interesting to know your thoughts about it. Before we get into the giveaway, I wanted to talk a little bit about another book that I got just today on audio. I spend a lot of time reading books as audiobooks for several reasons, mostly because I can do it while I'm doing chores. I go to the gym, so I listen to books there. Today I was running, and I was starting this new book by Ryan Holiday. I know I was bashing his last book kind of quite aggressively. That was called Courage is Calling, and that book did not live up to his standard. I have a few books of him that really spoke to me and that really touched me, but that book just didn't live up to it. It felt almost like it was a GDP chat generated book. It was just awful. But I couldn't tolerate the temptation of this new book because it talks about discipline and temperance, and it's a subject I haven't seen discussed in too many books, so I just had to pick it up. It's called Discipline. Oh, I should have prepared. Something about discipline. I'll put a picture on it here. Yeah, that one. It started off really well, actually, so the reason I picked it up now is because I've been kind of falling out of some important routines of mine. I know when I had the best period of my life, I was doing workouts each morning, meditating, I had good sleep, I was off nicotine and caffeine and all that, and last year I've been slipping back into some old bad habits. I've broken some routines, and I've noticed kind of the chaos that is created from that. And as I try to climb back into that better state of being and better state of living, I felt like, oh, maybe I need a book that can kind of kick me in the ass and point me in the right direction. So that's why I picked up that book. I don't know if you've read any Ryan Holiday books, but this is a part of a new series that he's doing on all the Stoic virtues. The first one was on courage, and this one is temperance, and then the other ones will follow. But this one, when I heard about the series, this topic just stood out to me, so I've been really looking forward to this book. So I'm pretty glad that I picked it up. Oh, and we have an occasion to celebrate. I set up a Patreon page, I think it was 1.5 months ago, maybe 2 months ago now. One of the ideas was I want to expand Booklab at some point. Right now I'm doing this on my free time, I'm doing it just for fun, but I can see, like, in the future I want to expand the scope of the Booklab operations. I want to be able to help other people. In order to do that, I need to get some support, because it's not free running this channel. And the things that I really want to do, I want to start bigger projects where I help people start reading books, help people maybe who can't access books now, because I know in some countries it's really hard to get good books because the shipping is too expensive. Like maybe dealing with a problem like that. I know some people in Nigeria, for instance, they have a really huge problem getting physical books because of how the mailing system works there. Like dealing with some of these bigger problems so that more people can get access to great books, that would be like a dream mission of mine, and it's extended and more a project with a larger scope, but it's still tied to my mission of inspiring 1 million people to read great books. And in order to do that, I would need some support so I can spend more time on that. That was kind of a long story short, but I started a Patreon page where people can support Booklab, another way to get some income into this project. And every month I give away a book there. Last month I tried to give away The Laws of Human Nature, but I had no patrons, so no one picked it up. But then last week I had my phone was buzzing and I saw, hey, someone has pledged. So this guy Tomar, you legend, you are the first Patreon. So now I actually have someone in there that can be a part of the book giveaway that I do each month. And this month I'm going to give away a guide to the good life by William B. Irvine. You probably haven't heard about this book, but this is my favorite book of all time. It's really hard to say a favorite book of all time, but it's up there. This book changed my life. This was my introduction to Stoic philosophy. It's a book that is very practical. It talks about how we can apply Stoic philosophy into everyday life in a modern context. Super practical. It takes the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Rufus, all those guys. Explains the philosophy really well. It's super accessible for new readers, and it also applies it to modern life. I think this book has had a profound impact on my life, actually, because it opened up my ideas to a lot of different concepts, like voluntary discomfort, like embracing discomfort. I have a big review up on this one if you want to check that out. I put a link here and a link in the description below. Also, the dichotomy of control, about focusing your energy on things you can control and ignoring things you cannot. Like today, the weather in Sweden sucks. I just came back from San Francisco, as I said. It was actually a little sunny. I got a little bit tanned. I came back, just snowstorm. It's terrible, terribly cold. It's everything is annoying about that, but it's beyond my control, right? And this book has taught me to focus on what's in my control, what is up to me, and differentiate between the two, what's not up to me and what's up to me. It sounds very obvious, but this book makes a really good case for how you can use these Stoic ideas to improve your thinking and your life quality in general. I really recommend this book. Check out the review if you haven't, and join the giveaway on Patreon. I really would like to hear what you guys are reading and what kind of books that have stood out to you this year. So it would be super nice if you wrote in the comments what you're reading and some favorite books from this year, because I read my to-read list this week and I kind of checked off a lot of books that I wanted to read this year. So I need to fill it with more titles, and I know you guys have a great taste in books. I want to pick your brains and get the best books on there, because there's still a few slots open, and I will be able to read a lot more books this year, actually. Next week I'll probably have a new mic. I hope so. I need to find something. Maybe I need to upgrade even, because the last one was kind of shitty. I think you can agree. So if you have any recommendations for microphones to get for this, something that works with my iPhone, because I want to have a really lean setup, so I don't have to have like special cameras and computers involved. I do everything on my phone, so something that works with the iPhone would be super good. I'll try to invest in that as soon as possible, because yeah, I want to create. I have a lot of reviews to get out there. I have Hold On to Your Kids by Gabor Mate, which was a really good book that I would love to share on the channel. I will probably finish the Discipline book by Ryan Holiday very soon. I really want to do my A Man in Full video. The Art of Happiness, and I think there are a few others that I haven't recorded yet, so there's a lot of books to put up on the page. I think that's it. I don't know if you enjoyed me rambling about books, but now I've tried this format, a new experience. We'll see if I do it again. Let me know if you like it. Anyway, see you next week with more book reviews. Happy reading. Björn out.